Hi all, welcome again. Okay, so yes, in the yesterday's lecture, we have covered the few important terminologies surrounding to the testing, right? So yeah, let's quickly recap and we'll move further. Okay. So yes, in the last session, we mainly discussed about the testing phase, right? And during this testing phase, we covered few important point, right? Okay. So yeah, let's have a small recap so that you'll have a clear understanding, right? So basically, we covered the STLC, that is the software testing life cycle, and for software testing life cycle, it is one of the phase from your SDLC, right? It is one of the part of SDLC, and it is dedicated to your testing phase, right? During SDLC. Okay, so there are different phases within the SDLC, that is the software testing life cycle, like requirement analysis, test plan, test case design, environment setup, test case execution, and test cycle closure, right? So yes, with regards to the test case design, right, we know there are different documentation like BRS, then we have FRS, design document, and test plan. Okay, so based on this, like we are designing up the test cases, right? So for designing of test cases, we should know these concepts which we have covered yesterday, like use case. Okay, so what is use case? It describes the client requirement and it is having three parameters. Your actor, and that is the end user, action, steps to perform particular action, right? And outcome, what is the final outcome? Okay, from the requirement we can easily figure out who is the actor, what are the actions, and what is the outcome, right? For example, as an end user, I should able to log in the application with a valid username and password. In this scenario, user will be the actor, right? And he is performing some steps to log in the application. That are the actions, and outcome is nothing but log into the particular application, right? That is the outcome or output of the particular use case. Based on this use case, we can go ahead and we can derive the test scenario. So test scenario basically defines what to be tested, हमें test क्या करना है, right? Okay, so for this requirement, currently we are considering login functionality as a scenario. Then based on this scenario, we can have multiple test cases, okay, surrounding to this. Basically it covers how to be tested, what are the different step-by-step approach we need to follow to test the particular functionality, right? So that one comes under your test case designing. Okay, so yes, with the help of different techniques which we have previously studied, like input domain, which includes your ECP, BBA, error guessing, decision table, right? State transition. Likewise, using these different testing techniques, uh, we can create up the test data, right? And based on that test data, we can have different scenarios. Sorry, different test cases from the positive side as well as from the negative side. With the help of valid data, invalid data. Likewise, we can derive number of test cases, right? Then based on these test cases, we can group the similar sort of test cases is called as test suite. Okay, there are different kind of test suites within a project, like smoke sanity in order to check the build stability. Then we have regression test suite in order to perform a complete like regression for our software product. Then we have functional test cases group, that is called as functional test suite. Then we have non-functional test suite as well for performing non-functional testing, right? Okay, so another important terminology we have covered, that is the RTM document, right? So it's a requirement traceability matrix. It's a mapping in between your requirement and test cases, and it's a template should be template should include the requirement ID, its description, test scenario, test cases, and their statuses, right? So basically, this is prepare in order to check the guys, screen is visible, the notepad screen.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay, fine. Okay, yes. Chalo, thank you. Okay, so basically RTM includes your requirement ID, then the description, then we have test scenario, right? And then we have number of test cases which we have written already that we can put up here. And once we done with the execution phase as well, we can put the status of particular test cases, right? And meanwhile also we have covered one of the important parameter, that is the test environment, which is also called as test bed, and it is different for your mobile as well as for your web application depending upon the project requirement, right? So likewise, yes, these topics we have covered in the yesterday's session, right? And these are regarding to your testing concepts. So yeah, your test environment, then we done the execution, right? And then based on that we have covered like defect report, yes, as well as their important parameters we have covered yesterday. That one is the defect severity, right? That one is the defect severity. We have five types of defect severities: blocker, critical, major, and minor, right? Blocker means a complete blockage. Critical means a main functionality break. Major means some undesirable behavior but functionality is working. Okay. And minor means typing mistakes or errors, right? Surrounding to the spellings. Okay. Then on a like priority side, we have covered how soon or how important it is to fix up, right? So based on that, we have given three priorities: high, medium, and low. Likewise, how soon we need to fix that defect is nothing but the priority, right? And surrounding to that, we have derived few test like examples for low priority, low severity. Likewise, we have covered few examples. Try to capture these examples because during the question we need to answer in a single line, right? Then we have covered the important once we raise the defect. So there is one life cycle surrounding to that defect is called as bug life cycle, right? That we have discussed yesterday. And during bug life cycle we have different stages, such as new state, then we have rejected, then we have duplicate, and then we have deferred, then we have assigned, then we have open, then we have fix, and then we have close. So these are the different stages of the bug life cycle. Okay. Yeah, we need to explain from the here until here, closure of the particular bug. Guys, please keep on mute. Okay. Okay. So yeah, this one is the bug life cycle, and there are different reasons for the rejection of particular bug, that also we have discussed, right? Okay. Then during your STLC, the last one phase is the test closure, right? Test cycle closure. So up till now, like we have done some analysis, and surrounding to that, we have made a test plan document, and based on that, like we have designed the test cases. Based on that, once we done with the test case design, right? And during test case design, we have derived the use cases, test scenario, right? Also, we have prepared some RTM documents. Also we have grouped the test cases and called it as test suite, right? So likewise, from the documentation part, once we done, then environment setup will be done where mobile application or web application is deployed, installed, right? And once that part is done, then we are performing testing. We are performing the testing, actual testing, execution of particular test cases. Once we done with the execution, then we'll be creating a report, like how many test cases are pass, how many test cases are fail, right? And based on that we are reporting the defect. So once the defect is reported, then we are following bug life cycle in order to track that defect, in order to perform retesting, in order to perform regression testing. Okay. So once we executed all the test cases as well as all the bugs are fixed and closed, right? Tested and closed. So in that situation we can go for the next last phase of testing, that is the test cycle closure. So what all activity we need to consider for this phase? So different activities involved for the test cycle closure, such as cycle completion criteria based on time, test coverage, cost, software, critical business objective, and critical. So these parameters are listed okay into the documentation. Based on that we need to evaluate like how much time, like what are the timeline for particular cycle closure, then how many number of test cases we have covered across the requirement that we can trace from the RTM. Then cost, like from the management side team will be looking for cost. Then software, critical business objective, like which requirements are on the top priority, which are the bugs we reported, what is their priority, are they fixed or not. Likewise, we are mainly focusing on the quality part, right? Then once we done with the execution, based on the test execution, we are going to create some test matrices, okay, that we are going to cover in upcoming slide. Okay, and also the if any new learning from the project, that also we are documenting, preparing the test summary report, that is also important. Like we have executed 100 number of test cases, how many pass, how many fail, right, how many bugs are reported, how many bugs are fixed, how many bugs are open. Likewise, we'll be having a complete test summary report. Okay, and then based on that we are performing the result analysis, okay, and by different parameters. Okay, so once we done with the test cycle closure, what will be the output of this phase is the test closure report and a test matrix. Okay, that will yeah, see, so this one is the test closure, sorry, test cycle closure, right, phase, and during which we'll be expecting टेस्ट क्लोजर रिपोर्ट. यहाँ पे हमें एट द एंड ऑफ दिस फेज हमें क्या मिलने वाला है, दैट इज द टेस्ट क्लोजर रिपोर्ट एंड टेस्ट मैट्रिसेस फ्रॉम द मैनेजमेंट साइड, राइट. So yeah, let's focus on the test matrix. Okay, so basically what does it include? Okay, so अभी तक हमने ना सारा कुछ जो भी फंक्शनल रिक्वायरमेंट थी उसके अगेंस्ट टेस्ट केस राइट किए, एग्जीक्यूट किए, बग रिपोर्ट किए, फिक्स होने के बाद वापस से रीटेस्ट किए, रिग्रेशन टेस्ट किए, राइट. जो भी चीजें हमने परफॉर्म की है ना उसी के बेसिस पे हम फॉर्मूलाज लगा के है ना ये वैल्यूज पुट अप करते. तो लेट्स सी हाउ वी आर डूइंग दैट. सो इसमें आता है बेसिकली आपका लाइक नंबर ऑफ रिक्वायरमेंट्स. जैसे हम अज्यूम करके चलते हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल हमारे पास है 100 नंबर ऑफ रिक्वायरमेंट. ओके, fine. Okay, then based on that we also calculating like average number of test cases written per requirement. For each requirement how many number of average test cases we have written, that also we are calculating. Then total number of test cases written for all requirement, that is also we are considering. Then total number of test case executed, number of test case pass, number of test case fail, number of test case block, number of test case are unexecuted due to some reasons, total number of defect identify, how many criticals, how many higher defects, okay, and how many medium defects, how many low level of defects, and what is the customer defect, if any defects found by the customer, okay, from customer side, that also we are taking into the consideration. Then number of defects found in UAT, like while doing the user acceptance test, during that phase also we might face some issues, we might go face some we might face some defects, right, so that also we are taking into consideration. Okay, so for calculating this management need a data, right, in a percentage. Okay, so for that we have simple formulas from the management side, they'll be calculating this different percentage. It is called as test matrix. Okay, so the first one is number of test case executed. It's a simple formula, number of test case executed upon number of test cases written, right. In case for our situation we have written the 100 number of test cases and we have executed all 100 number of test cases, right, which is multiplied by 100. So 100 divided by 100 will be 1 and 1 multiplied by 100 will be 100%, right. So that our test case executed is 100%. For example, if we executed 90 test cases out of 100, so in that situation percentage would be 90%. Likewise, we can simply implement the formula. Number of test cases not execute, we can simply put here number of test cases upon total number of test cases written. So for example, we have 10 test cases we have not executed out of 100. So 10 divided by, like we will see calculations, these are the simple calculative formulas, right. Okay, so yeah, let me capture these figures and let's go to the notebook so that we'll have formula based clarity over there. Okay, let me share the notebook. Sure. Okay, so we just need to put the calculation part here, right. So first one is the number of test case executed, and what is the formula? Number, for example, let's assume we have total number of, okay, for this what will be the requirement, total number of test cases, okay, written, Total number of test cases written are 100, for example. Okay. So what is the formula for test case executed? Calculating the percentage number of test cases executed. For example, we have executed 90 test cases and we have written 100. Okay. So yeah, multiply by 100. It means 100 will get cancelled, right? So I'll be just writing into the bracket so that you'll get more clarity here. Okay. And multiply by 100. So okay, so in this situation 100 divided by 100 will get cancelled and will get a percentage as 90%, right? 90%. So what is the test case executed? Total number of test case executed are 90%, right? Hence the percentage for execution test case executed is 90%. Likewise, second formula we can apply. Okay, the second formula is the percentage of test cases not executed. Simple, like we have total 100 test cases, we have not executed, for example, 10 test cases. Okay, 10 divided by total number of test cases are 100. In order to calculate the percentage, let's multiply by it 100. So 100 will get cancelled, will get a percentage as 10%. So what is the percentage of test case not executed? That is the 10%. Correct. This one is the second calculation matrix, right? Third one, percentage of test case pass. How many test cases pass? For example, assume that we have 100 test cases. Out of that we have executed 90 test cases, and from the 90 test cases, okay, from the 90 test cases, for example, out of 90 test cases, we have executed all 90, and out of that 60 test cases are passed. Okay, 60 test cases are passed. So what is the formula for percentage calculation? Number of test cases passed. So out of 90, 60 pass, and total number of test cases executed. How many we have executed? 90 test cases, right? So this will be the formula, and it is multiplied by 100. So what will be the end result? See, what will be the end result? We need to calculate it. One moment. Okay, so 60 divided by how many test cases we have executed? 90. Okay, and multiply by 100. So percentage will be, guys, 66.66%. Okay, likewise, agar hum 66, we can round up just 66%, right? So how many test case we got pass? So percentage is 66. Okay, or we can simply say 66.66. So let's round it to the 67. Okay, 67%. That one is the another test matrix. Let's calculate for the failed test cases. So in this scenario, for example, we have executed 90 test cases, and out of that 60 are passed, correct? So yeah, let's consider if the 60 are passed, that means 30 test cases already gone fail, right? 30 test cases are failed. So formula is test cases failed 30 divided by total number of test cases executed 90, multiply by 100. So answer will be 33%, right? Okay, so likewise, how many number of test cases are failed? So in a percentage, 33% test cases got failed. If you add failed and okay, the failed percentage and the pass percentage, so it should be 100%, right? Fine. Okay, this one is the failed test case percentage. How many test cases are blocked? Okay, for example, due to some reason, we are unable to execute the test case, and particular number of test cases are blocked, right? For example, in our case, for example, due to some functionality breakage, okay, and the 10 number of test cases are blocked, and total test cases, how many we have executed? For example, 90 test cases we have executed. Let's calculate the, these are just, I'm taking random numbers, guys. Okay, based on the actual number we can have percentage. Likewise, For example, in this situation, answer would be, let me calculate that, 10 divisible by your 90. Okay, and they multiply by 100, so percentage would be around 11%, 11.11. So we can round up to the 11%. Okay, likewise this percentage we can calculate. So another test matrix also we have, okay, surrounding to this. I'll be just writing here. Okay, these are the just mathematical calculation, guys. Based on the test data, execution data, we can calculate this as well. So these are the basic metrics, right? Also we have few terminologies surrounding to this formula base. Okay, yes. So another terminology is the defect density. Let's focus here. Okay, give me one moment. Fine. Defect density, it means number of defect identified per requirement. जो भी सिंगल रिक्वायरमेंट है उसके अगेंस्ट हमने तो सिनेरियो लिखे हैं, मल्टीपल टेस्ट केस लिखे हैं, राइट? कितने नंबर ऑफ डिफेक्ट हमें फाइंड हुए, आइडेंटिफाई हुए, दैट इज कम्स अंडर योर डिफेक्ट डेंसिटी. सो इसके लिए फॉर्मूला क्या है? नंबर ऑफ डिफेक्ट्स फाउंड अपॉन द साइज और नंबर ऑफ रिक्वायरमेंट्स. ओके, सो particular defect density we can calculate like number of defect found. For example, there are 10 number of defect found and size of requirement. What is the size of for example, in our case, yeah, size of requirement is 100, right? So defect density would be, it will comes into the percentage, right? 0.1. Okay, fine. Likewise, yeah, it is calculated defect density. Okay, if we found like 100 number of defects out of 100 requirements, so then defect density would be 1, right? Likewise we can calculate it. Then we have defect removal efficiency. These are the terminologies, guys, and based on these reports are created. Okay, we just need to calculate using the values. DRE, defect removal efficiency. Okay, so basically in this situation, okay, let me put a descriptive points here. Okay, see, this one is the actual formula. Okay, A divisible by A plus B multiplied by 100. These are the standard formula, like a mathematical one. We just need to apply them. ओके, तो यहाँ पे कैलकुलेशन कैसा होगा? देखिए, A stands for fixed defects. How many defects are fixed by the developer? Okay, upon fixed defects plus missed defects. Okay, into 100. So A is nothing but the defect identified during testing and fixed by the development team, right? Okay, that one is the A. And B is nothing but defect identify the customer or missed defects. मतलब during system testing जब भी हम testing perform करते हैं, right? And during that testing अगर कुछ defect miss होता है, तो that consider under the missed defects. So for example, इसका formula है, put up करते हैं, तो हमने number of defect find किए, particular dev team ने fix किए, for example 10 number of defects. Okay, in a, will keep into the bracket, divided by, will keep into another bracket. Okay, divided by the total fixed defects. How many defects are fixed? 10. And how many defects are we have miss? Let's assume we have miss another 10 defects, right? So let's have a multiplication. Okay, so what will be the answer? 10 10 divisible by 20, right? 10 divisible by 20 multiply by 100, right? So this will be the formula symbol. So answer would be 50, right? Okay, answer would be 50%. So your defect removal efficiency would be 50%. Because why? Because only 10 defect we have fixed and 10 defect we have missed. If no defect is missed, then efficiency would be 100%, right? If the defect is not missed, 10 divisible by 10 is 1, which is multiplied by 100, which is nothing but your 100%. And if we miss some few defects, so that times your defect removal efficiency will get reduced, right? Likewise, we can calculate DRE, that is the defect removal efficiency. Then there is another terminology surrounding to this, that one is the defect leakage. हम बोलते हैं ना कि गैस लीक हो रहा है, पर्टिकुलर लाइन लीक हो रही है, राइट? सो जो भी एक्चुअल अमाउंट है उसमें से कुछ ना कुछ पार्ट लीक हो रहा है, राइट? सो सिमिलर टू टेस्टिंग हम डिफेक्ट लीकेज बोलते हैं. मतलब फॉर एग्जांपल नंबर ऑफ डिफेक्ट फाउंड इन यूएटी ड्यूरिंग सिस्टम टेस्टिंग, टेस्टर से जो भी डिफेक्ट छूटे वो हमें कहाँ पे ऑब्जर्व हो गए? यूएटी में, राइट? अपॉन द डिफेक्ट्स फाउंड इन सिस्टम टेस्टिंग. सो जैसे अज्यूम करते हैं हमारे पास 100 नंबर ऑफ टेस्ट केसेस थे, ओके, आउट ऑफ दैट हमें 10 नंबर ऑफ डिफेक्ट्स मिले हैं यूएटी में, ओके, जो हमसे छूटे थे इन अ सिस्टम टेस्टिंग. एंड हाउ मेनी नंबर ऑफ डिफेक्ट फाउंड इन सिस्टम टेस्टिंग? फॉर एग्जांपल ड्यूरिंग सिस्टम टेस्टिंग 20 नंबर ऑफ डिफेक्ट्स फाउंड एंड 10 नंबर ऑफ डिफेक्ट्स फाउंड इन यूएटी. सो इसका अगर हम कैलकुलेशन करते हैं मल्टीप्लाई बाय 100, तो इसका सिंपल आंसर आता है 50, राइट? So what is defect leakage? 50%. So we have missed 50% of defects during our system testing. Ideally जो भी defect है हमें कहाँ पे मिलने चाहिए? System testing में मिलने चाहिए, ना कि UAT में. क्योंकि UAT में कौन रहेगा इन parallel testing के लिए? Customer involved रहेगा, right? उनके end पे ज्यादा defect नहीं मिलने चाहिए, मतलब ideally तो zero होने चाहिए. ठीक है, फिर भी इनकेस अगर कुछ छूट जाता है फ्रॉम द टेस्टिंग साइड, राइट, तो वो वहां पे ऑब्जर्व होते हैं, उसी के बेसिस पे हम कैलकुलेट करते हैं डिफेक्ट लीकेज. इसके लिए फॉर्मूला है बेसिकली, ओके. देन अनदर वन इज फॉर्मूला फॉर द defect rejection ratio. So what is defect rejection ratio? It is the number of defects rejected by the development team or our test lead, right? And upon the total number of defects raised by the QA or testing team. क्या होता है ना, जैसे हमने बग लाइफ साइकिल देखे, राइट, उसमें अगर कोई पर्टिकुलर डिफेक्ट है हमने रेज किया है, राइट, बट वो ड्यू टू सम रीजन लाइक एनहांसमेंट, फ्यूचर स्कोप, कोई भी रीजन है उसके वजह से अगर रिजेक्ट होता है, तो दैट डिफेक्ट इज नथिंग बट रिजेक्टेड डिफेक्ट एंड टोटल नंबर ऑफ डिफेक्ट रेज, राइट. For example, a 5 number of defects are rejected by the development team and we have reported 10 number of defects. So in that situation, multiply by 100. So in this situation, what is the defect rejection ratio? It's a 50%, right? It's a 50%. Likewise, we can calculate the particular percentage of the particular values, right? So defect rejection ratio is 50% in this scenario. If like we have zero defect rejected, so in that situation, like if we have like there should be always some defects into the reported part, right? So if we have zero, it means zero defect rejection ratio. Or if we raise all 10 defects and all are rejected, it means there is 100% rejection ratio. Okay. Then another terminology which surrounding to this defect is the defect age, means fixed date, sorry, fixed date subtracted by reported date. Okay, so yeah, it totally depends upon like fixed date. For example, we have raised defect on the 1st of May and that particular defect is fixed on 13th of May, right? So there is a 30 days of delay in between, right? So we have reported it into the 1st and it got fixed on the 13th. Okay, 30th of May, right? And what is the date of report? Date of report is the 1st of May. So there are around like 29 days in between, right? Okay, so that is the defect age, and we or in total how many days are there? Like 30 days are there. Okay. Okay, so that one is the defect age for your fixed date as well as your report date. You can just have a subtraction and clear defect age we can have, that is the 29 days.
Sir, defect trace बोल.
Sorry.
Sir, defect trace.
Okay, defect track or how?
defect raised.
ओके ओके ओके, डिफेक्ट रेज कहाँ पे है? अच्छा, राइट। सो क्या होता है, जैसे अभी हम टेस्ट केस एग्जीक्यूट करते हैं, रेज मींस हम जब भी कोई हमें मिसमैच मिलता है तो उसी चीज को हम एक बग आईडी देते हैं, डिफेक्ट आईडी देते हैं, एंड वही डिफेक्ट हम रिपोर्ट करते हैं टू द टीम, राइट। तो टीम चेक करती है कि ये डिफेक्ट वैलिड है क्या, अगर इनकेस वैलिड है तो ये आगे जाता है, एल्स इट विल बी रिजेक्टेड ड्यू टू फ्यू रीजंस, एनहांसमेंट के लिए हम, राइट, जो भी हमने रीजंस देखे थे। अगर वो पर्टिकुलर वैलिड है तो आगे जाता है, देन आल्सो चेक लाइक ये ऑलरेडी रेज किया है क्या किसी ने, मतलब टेस्टिंग टीम में से किसी ने ऑलरेडी इसको रिपोर्ट किया है क्या, रेज मींस रिपोर्टिंग। अगर वो पर्टिकुलर डिफेक्ट किसी और ने रेज किया है, रिपोर्ट किया है, तो पर्टिकुलर डिफेक्ट एज अ डुप्लीकेट मार्क होगा। इनकेस वो डिफेक्ट लो प्रायोरिटी पे है, कुछ अदर प्रायोरिटीज के डिफेक्ट चल रहे हैं, तो इन दैट सिचुएशन दैट विल बी डिफर्ड, राइट। एंड इन केस उसकी हाई प्रायोरिटी है, राइट, सो इन दैट सिचुएशन दैट डिफेक्ट विल गेट असाइन टू द पर्टिकुलर डेवलपर, डेवलपर उस पे काम करेगा, फिक्स करेगा, हम रिटेस्ट करेंगे, रिग्रेशन करेंगे, एंड दैट डिफेक्ट स्टेटस इज क्लोज। ओके, सो जो रिजेक्ट होता है ना डिफेक्ट फ्रॉम द डेव टीम, दैट इज द रिजेक्टेड वन, एंड जितने भी डिफेक्ट हमें मिलते हैं ड्यूरिंग एग्जीक्यूशन, दैट वी आर रिपोर्टिंग इज नथिंग बट डिफेक्ट रेज। क्लियर है गाइस?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
ओके फाइन, चलो। ओके, सो डिफेक्ट एज इज नथिंग बट योर फिक्स डेट माइनस रिपोर्टेड है, दैट वन इज द डिफेक्ट एज, and another parameter is the customer satisfaction. It totally depends upon how many complaints we have received particular during that duration. For example, हमारा waterfall का एक cycle है of 3 months, right? Within a particular 3 months, how many complaints raised from the customer? Based on that, we can calculate the customer satisfaction, right? So these are the different test matrices surrounding to the testing. Clear guys, like these are the simple formulas, we just need to put how many test cases we have executed, how many test cases are passed, how many test cases are failed, how many bugs are reported, how many bugs are rejected. Likewise, the management team will have idea कि वर्क कैसे चल रहा है प्रोजेक्ट पे, मतलब प्रोजेक्ट की इफिशिएंसी कैसी है, टीम कैसी काम कर रही है, राइट, इससे पता चलता है उनको इन अ परसेंटेज। इजी है, क्लियर है?
Yes, sir.
ओके फाइन। ओके, सो यस, ये था आपका बेसिकली टेस्ट मैट्रिक्स। जैसे ही आपका टेस्ट के एग्जीक्यूशन पूरा साइकिल क्लोजर होता है ना, तो बेस्ड ऑन दैट मैनेजमेंट को भी रिपोर्ट चाहिए, ताकि टीम का प्रोग्रेस कैसा चल रहा है, राइट, क्या क्या चीजों पे काम हो रहा है, कितने नंबर ऑफ टेस्ट केसेस थे, कितने नंबर ऑफ एग्जीक्यूट हुए, कितने नंबर ऑफ फेल हुए, कितने नंबर ऑफ डिफेक्ट है, ये उनको परसेंटेज में चाहिए, राइट, क्योंकि उनके पास ये इतना डिटेल में स्टडी करने के लिए टाइम नहीं होता। सो बेस्ड ऑन परसेंटेज दे विल बी टेकिंग डिसीजन कि नेक्स्ट साइकिल में हमें क्या चीज परफॉर्म करनी है, राइट। ओके, yes, yeah, this is about the test matrix, like we have calculated the percentage surrounding to this test matrix, right? Okay, so another important another important topic is guys कि ये जो भी टेस्टिंग का फेज है ना, इसमें एज अ टेस्टर हमारी क्या क्या रोल्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज है, क्या क्या एक्टिविटीज हम परफॉर्म करते हैं ना, उसके फ्यू की पॉइंट्स यहाँ पे मैंने हाईलाइट किए हैं। लाइक क्यूए टेस्टिंग एक्टिविटी, क्यूए क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस और अवर टेस्टर्स एक्टिविटी, हम क्या क्या एक्टिविटीज परफॉर्म करते हैं ड्यूरिंग टेस्टिंग। Okay, so first one, that is the important understanding requirement and functional specifications of application, that one is the primary role, correct, or primary activity. Fine. And then based on the requirement and functional specification, what we are doing, we are deriving the test scenario, right? And based on this test scenario, what we are doing, we are designing the test cases in order to validate or in order to test the application. ओके, जैसे हम डॉक्यूमेंटेशन क्लियर अप करते हैं, तो देन विल बी सेटिंग अप द टेस्ट एनवायरनमेंट और टेस्ट बेड। ये हर एक प्रोजेक्ट के ऊपर डिपेंड होता है, एनवायरनमेंट ऑलरेडी सेट है कैसा है, राइट। सो यस, इसके लिए डिफरेंट टीम भी हो सकती है, या आपके पास डॉक्यूमेंट भी आ सकता है, बेस्ड ऑन दैट हम सेटअप भी कर सकते हैं, ठीक है। देन एग्जीक्यूट टेस्ट केसेस, जैसे ही एनवायरनमेंट सेट होता है तो हम एग्जीक्यूट करते हैं टेस्ट केसेस को एंड वैलिडेट करते हैं। ओके, लॉग टेस्ट रिजल्ट्स लाइक हाउ मेनी टेस्ट केसेस पास, हाउ मेनी फेल्स, हम आरटीएम डॉक्यूमेंट में अपडेट करते हैं, टेस्ट एग्जीक्यूशन डॉक्यूमेंट भी क्रिएट करते हैं इसका। देन जो भी हमें डिफेक्ट्स फाउंड हुए हैं राइट, उनको हम रिपोर्ट करते हैं टू द टीम एंड उनको ट्रैक करते हैं, दैट कम्स अंडर डिफेक्ट बग लाइफ साइकिल, करेक्ट। ओके, जैसे ही पर्टिकुलर डिफेक्ट फिक्स होता है तो उसी के ऊपर हम रीटेस्टिंग परफॉर्म करते हैं एज वेल एज रिग्रेशन भी परफॉर्म करते हैं। देन परफॉर्मिंग वेरियस टाइप्स ऑफ टेस्टिंग इन एप्लीकेशन, रीटेस्टिंग, रिग्रेशन, स्मोक सैनिटी, राइट। इनिशियल बिल्ड पे हम स्मोक सैनिटी करते हैं, देन बग फिक्स पे रीटेस्टिंग, रिग्रेशन टेस्टिंग एंड डिफरेंट डिफरेंट टेस्टिंग टाइप्स का यूज करते हैं। then reports we are sharing with our test lead about the status and assigned tasks। जो भी टास्क हमें असाइन है वो पर्टिकुलरली हम हमारे जो भी रिपोर्टिंग मैनेजर है, टेस्ट लीड है, उनको रिपोर्ट करते हैं कि एक्टिविटी क्या चल रहा है ऑन अ डे टू डे बेसिस। ऑल्सो विल बी पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन अ रेगुलर मीटिंग, जो भी टीम के साथ मीटिंग चल रहा है राइट ऑन अ डे टू डे बेसिस, उस पर भी हम पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं। देन अगर हम एज अ ऑटोमेशन टेस्टर वर्क कर रहे हैं तो बेस्ड ऑन दिस मैनुअल टेस्ट डेटा हम उसी का ऑटोमेशन करते हैं, जो आपको है ना इन डिटेल रहेगा ऑटोमेशन पार्ट पे। ये भी एज अ क्यूए पर्सन रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, अगर आप दोनों भी काम कर रहे हैं या ऑटोमेशन साइड पे काम कर रहे हो। यहाँ तक तो आप मैन्युअली करते हो सारा, ओके। then provide recommendation on like whether particular application is ready in order to push into the production, particular application सही से टेस्ट हुआ है नहीं, इस पे भी हम सजेशन दे सकते हैं। so these are the key activities during our testers role। ठीक है, हम जब भी इन टेस्टर्स रोल होते हैं तो these are the some key activities हमें परफॉर्म करनी होती है, जो हमने जस्ट नाउ प्रीवियसली भी देखा था, राइट। ओके, so later on guys, during testing हमें always keep in mind there are 7 principles of testing on like theoretical side हमें ये principles याद होने चाहिए, ठीक है। there are 7 principles for the testing, और throughout the testing कोई भी आप टाइप का टेस्टिंग करो ना उसके सराउंडिंग ये principles फॉलो करने होते हैं, ठीक है। ऑन प्रिंसिपल साइड, सो उसमें क्या है, फर्स्ट वन, स्टार्ट सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग एट अर्ली फेज। जो भी टेस्टिंग है ना वो अर्ली फेज पे स्टेज पे ही स्टार्ट करना है हमें, राइट। जैसे हमने देखा था वाटरफॉल मॉडल में ना टेस्टिंग का स्कोप कब स्टार्ट होता है, तो टेस्टिंग फेज में। बट बाकी के भी जो मॉडल्स है, जैसे हमने वेरिफिकेशन देखा, उसमें पैरेलल चीजें चलती है। नेक्स्ट वन अजाइल मॉडल है, उसमें भी पैरेलल चीजें चलती है, राइट। तो हमें जितना जल्दी पॉसिबल हो सके ना उतना टेस्टिंग स्टार्ट करना है, सिंपल। जैसे ही रिक्वायरमेंट हमें मिलता है ना, बेस्ड ऑन दैट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन पार्ट पे हमें टेस्टिंग स्टार्ट करना है। देन सॉफ्टवेयर द टेस्ट द सॉफ्टवेयर इन ऑर्डर टू फाइंड डिफेक्ट। हमें जो भी टेस्टिंग परफॉर्म करनी है ना, आवर मेन गोल शुड बी इन ऑर्डर टू फाइंड द डिफेक्ट, हमें डिफेक्ट फाइंड करना है फ्रॉम द टेस्टर साइड। हाई पॉसिबिलिटी टू गिव द बग फ्री सॉफ्टवेयर टू कस्टमर। ओके, जो भी हम सॉफ्टवेयर डिलीवर करते हैं ना, जीरो बग के साथ कभी भी नहीं होता है। दैट हाई पॉसिबिलिटी है कि हमने कितना भी टेस्ट किया है फिर भी कुछ ना कुछ बग छूट जाते हैं, राइट। सो दैट आल्सो शुड लाइक वी कीप इन माइंड, ओके। सो देयर इज अ हाई पॉसिबिलिटी कि बग फ्री सॉफ्टवेयर हम कस्टमर को नहीं दे सकते, कितना भी हम टेस्टिंग करें, कहीं ना कहीं कॉर्नर केसेस पे हमें फंक्शनैलिटी में ब्रेकेज मिलेगा ही, डिफेक्ट मिलते ही है, ओके। that should be always keep in mind। should not do exhaustive testing, हमें exhaustive testing नहीं करना है। it means हमने टेस्ट केस एक बार बनाया और उसके लिए हमने डेटा बनाया, लाइक वैलिड यूजर नेम, वैलिड पासवर्ड, जो भी डेटा हम क्रिएट करते हैं ना उसको टाइम टू टाइम अपडेट करते रहना है। क्योंकि अगर इनकेस हम अपडेट नहीं करते ना तो हमारे टेस्ट केस ऑलवेज विल बी पास, ओके। फॉर एग्जांपल कोई लॉगिन फंक्शनलिटी हम चेक कर रहे हैं, उसके लिए यूजर नेम है और पासवर्ड है, वही हम रिपीटिवली यूज कर रहे हैं, हम कुछ अलग कॉम्बिनेशन नहीं ट्राई कर रहे हैं, राइट। सो इन दैट सिचुएशन वी माइट मिस द डिफेक्ट, ओके। इसीलिए हमें पर्टिकुलर टेस्ट डेटा को भी अपडेट करते रहना है, दैट वन इज द अनदर प्रिंसिपल। एंड हम जो भी टेस्टिंग परफॉर्म करते हैं ना, इट शुड बी कॉन्टेक्स्ट बेस्ड। मतलब जो भी टेस्टिंग कर रहे हैं ना हम, दैट शुड बी कॉन्टेक्स्ट बेस्ड। इट सिंपली मीन्स, फॉर एग्जाम्पल हमारे पास कोई इन एप्लीकेशन है जिसका हम इनपुट बॉक्स चेक कर रहे हैं, तो उसके हम लाइक मोबाइल नंबर की फील्ड चेक कर रहे हैं, तो वहां पे हम जो भी नंबर्स है वो वैलिडेट कर सकते हैं, कैरेक्टर ले रहा है क्या, अल्फाबेटिक ले रहा है क्या। लाइकवाइज जो भी पर्टिकुलर फील्ड है, जो भी टाइप ऑफ एप्लीकेशन है, उसके सराउंडिंग हमें टेस्टिंग परफॉर्म करनी है। सो दैट वन इज द कॉन्टेक्स्ट बेस्ड। फॉर एग्जांपल इमेज है तो इमेज की साइज देखनी है हमें, उसका फॉर्मेट देखना है, राइट। वीडियो है तो उसका फॉर्मेट, उसका अलाइनमेंट, उसका पोजीशन, वो सारी चीजें देखनी है। मतलब जो भी एलिमेंट है, जो भी टाइप ऑफ टेस्टिंग है, उसके कॉन्टेक्स्ट के बेसिस पे हमें टेस्टिंग करनी है। ओके, likewise then we should follow some concept of pesticide paradox। हमें ना ये पेस्टिसाइड पैराडॉक्स की कंसेप्ट फॉलो करनी है। इट मींस हम अगर कोई टेस्ट केस है फॉर लॉन्गर टाइम, मतलब सिमिलर सॉर्ट ऑफ टेस्ट केस अगर हम रिपीटेडली रन करते हैं, तो उससे ना चांसेस है कि डिफेक्ट नहीं मिल सकता। क्यों? क्योंकि सिमिलर सॉर्ट ऑफ डेटा हम रिपीटेडली यूज कर रहे हैं, हमें पर्टिकुलर टेस्ट केस को अपडेट भी करना है, राइट। सो दैट कम्स अंडर योर पेस्टिसाइड पैराडॉक्स इफेक्ट। इट सिंपली मीन्स जब भी हम लाइक फार्मिंग करते हैं, राइट, जब भी हम खेत में है ना पेस्टिसाइड करते हैं, राइट, पेस्टिसाइड का ये करते हैं, राइट। सो इन दैट सिचुएशन ये होता है ना, अगर सिमिलर पेस्टिसाइड हम यूज करते हैं फॉर आवर फार्मिंग, राइट। सो इन दैट सिचुएशन क्या होता है ना, जो भी पेस्टिसाइड है पर्टिकुलर है, उनको आदत हो जाती है कि यार, राइट। लाइकवाइज हमें टेस्टिंग में भी है ना, सिमिलर सॉर्ट ऑफ टेस्ट केस अगर हम मल्टीपल टाइम्स एग्जीक्यूट करते हैं ना, तो उससे क्या होता है, तो डिफेक्ट न मिलने के चांसेस ज्यादा होते हैं। सो हमारा मेन तो इंटेंशन क्या है, सेकंड प्रिंसिपल क्या बोलता है कि लाइक वी नीड टू फाइंड डिफेक्ट। तो हमें अगर नंबर ऑफ डिफेक्ट्स, मतलब क्वालिटी डिफेक्ट्स फाइंड करने हैं, तो इन दैट सिचुएशन हमें अपने टेस्ट केस को भी अपडेट करते रहना है, साइकिल बाय साइकिल, ओके, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द रिक्वायरमेंट। And the last but not least, we should follow defect clustering। it means सॉफ्टवेयर में है ना कोई मॉड्यूल ऐसे होता है 20%, जिसमें 80% ऑफ प्रॉब्लम हमें मिलते हैं। मतलब कोई ना कोई ऐसे सेंसिटिव मॉड्यूल्स होते हैं सॉफ्टवेयर में, जहाँ पे सबसे ज्यादा डिफेक्ट मिलने के चांसेस होते हैं। तो वहां पे हमें है ना मेनली फोकस करना है, क्योंकि अगर इन आपके एप्लीकेशन में 100 नंबर ऑफ डिफेक्ट्स है ना, तो आउट ऑफ दैट 100 डिफेक्ट्स, 80% ऑफ डिफेक्ट शुड बी फाउंड इन सम मेजर मॉडल्स। तो हमें उन मेजर मॉडल्स पे ही ज्यादा फोकस रखना है, सो दैट maximum number of defects get identified during testing only। So these are the 7 principles। First one is start early, start testing early. Second one is we are testing to find the defects. Third one is it is highly impossible to share the or to have the bug free software, right? There are always some miss bugs to the softwares. Then we should not do exhaustive testing, we should keep test data updated. Then testing should be context based, we should perform different type of testing depending upon the type of data application. We should follow the concept of pesticide paradox, means we always need to update our test cases so that defects will get traced. And the seventh principle is we should follow defect clustering. It means we should be focusing morely on the like critical models where there are chances to find number of bugs within that 20% of area, right? So these are the, yeah, your 7 principles of testing. So yes, on like, yeah, so these are the different principles of